I am Vern, and I am the writer of the book Venomous Snakebites and Near Misses. I created this book because over the years, over the past decade, I've had a number of experiences where I came very close to getting bitten by venomous snakes. Some of the snakes, that I work with are Kraits and King Cobras and Monocled Cobras and spitting cobras and vipers of a couple different sorts. So the stories are pretty good. Just my stories are pretty good. But then what I did was I went and I contacted other people who handle venomous snakes, like Viper Keeper, like a few other guys here that I know, and guys across the world. And I wanted their stories as well because they also do the same thing as me, right? So what we have is a collection on Kindle, on Amazon Kindle. It's 169 pages of snake stories. So it's something to read to get your anxiety going. It's something to read to help you to learn what not to do. You can learn, because we did a number of stupid things that almost caused a bite. In some cases, people were bitten. Some cases, there's one guy that was bitten by a black mamba. Happens. They're fast. So anyway, this is just an ad for the book. I hope you buy it. I hope you support us. ThailandSnakes has been here for over 10 years. Focused on this effort of rescuing snakes and education of people in Thailand, mostly expats because it's not in Thai yet, right? It's going to be in Thai pretty soon. But focusing on education of expats and trying to lessen the number of bites, trying to lessen the fear about snakes, and trying to lessen the killing of snakes, the needless killing of snakes, because it just happens too much here. All right, I hope you enjoy it. I'm going to show some snake pictures right now, and I'm going to read one or two of the stories that are in the book, so that way you get a taste what's going on with it and see if you want to buy it. It's only 119 Thai baht if you buy the PDF version. If you buy the Kindle version at Amazon, it's $4.99. If you buy the paperback, it's only $8.99 at Amazon. So email me and I will give you the links for payment, and they'll be in the description. All right, cheers then. Okay, the first story I want to cover is in Chapter 3, The Banded Krait. General disposition. This snake can grow to over 2 meters in length and is the thickest of all kraits. They are found all over Thailand and over much of Southeast Asia. I haven't personally handled these snakes outside of one of the snake shows near my home where they were often some in captivity. In the cages, they are lifeless and badly cared for until they die. I have read numerous times that the banded kraits are like Jekyll and Hyde in daylight versus night. They are said to be far readier to bite and have a lot of energy at night. I've seen these snakes at night, and there was little change. Of course, they had little area to roam around in the cages. During daylight, I have read that these kraits are as docile as can be, and that they just don't bite. You'll read in a story below how a guy was bitten at night at a Muay Thai boxing ring show in Bangkok. I'm sure there were plenty of lights, and the snake wouldn't really have known whether it was day or night. Still, it bit and severely envenomated the guy chosen from the audience to participate in the show. Venom. The venom in these kraits is primarily neurotoxic. The LD50 rating shows it as slightly less toxic than Malayan krait levels, but the venom is still quite potent. This is a strong snake, thick, with a thick neck and larger head than the other krait species. The fangs, though short, are well suited for injecting venom subcutaneously. Banded krait, not dead enough. John Crow, a teacher in our local area, told me about his experience with a small banded krait. About 6 months ago, I was teaching primary school in Klong Tom, between Kirby Town and Koh Lanta. This is close to where the Emerald Pool and Hot Springs attractions are, in case you are unfamiliar with the town. I was walking home from school toward my house one afternoon and heard two ladies scream. I ran over to the row of storefronts on the road, and the snake was laying there on the sidewalk. It looked dead. The snake was maybe a little thicker than a man's thumb and maybe 23 centimeters or so long, a small guy. Assuming he was dead, I grabbed a small handheld dustpan and used my foot to scoop him into the pan. I carried him to the side of the road and went to drop him down a storm drain, when he suddenly sprang to life and tried to take a nip at my arm. I dropped the pan and he came back towards the ladies and I, looking as aggressive as he could. I grabbed a broom and knocked him over to the top of the storm drain, but he was using the steel bars as leverage to stay above the drain. He kept biting at the broom, but after a few seconds I managed to push him down between the two of the steel bars. Although I hate snakes, I didn't want to harm him, so I was as gentle as I felt I needed to be, pushing him rather than chopping at him with the broom. When he went down into the drain, I saw he was unharmed and quickly slithered off out of sight. He was a little guy, but I knew he had a nasty bite. Although I have read that banded kraits are rather docile during nighttime, I don't think he was aiming to hurt anyone really, but with all my students walking home, I didn't want a curious child trying to pick it up or a shopkeeper stepping on him, potentially suffering a bite or killing the snake. Vern's note. This is another case of someone thinking a snake was dead and harmless and then almost being bitten because of not treating the snake as though it was still dangerous. All snakes in Thailand and anywhere in the world should be treated as deadly if you don't know what it is and how to handle it skillfully. Here's the story about the guy bitten by the banded krait at the snake show in Bangkok. The banded krait, Bungarus fasciatus, is a thick snake with a pronounced triangular cross-section indicative of snake eaters. The yellow and black bands in Thailand are about equally as thick, and the scales are large. This krait looks considerably different from the others in the genus. The head is also much larger and distinct from the neck than the other kraits. Though said to be completely harmless during daytime, I told you already about the one snakebite case that occurred in bright lights. A few years ago, I heard on the local Krabi news that a palm oil harvester reached his hand up to cut some palm seeds and was bitten on the hand by this very dangerous snake. This occurred during daytime. Early on, when I had just started ThailandSnakes.com and began posting snake videos on YouTube, I had a comment by a Swedish guy on one of my videos. He said he had been bitten by a banded krait during an impromptu snake show held at a Muay Thai boxing stadium in New York. He was standing in front of the snake as the handler brought it close, but outside of what he figured was the krait's striking range. Surprising everyone, the krait gave a lunge and promptly bit down hard on this guy's arm, on this guy's forearm. I didn't know whether to believe this at first. I get a lot of off-the-wall comments at my YouTube videos. Apparently it is true. He was bitten by a banded krait in 1995 while enjoying a night out in a Bangkok bar on Soy Cowboy. Some of the snake handlers at Thailand snake shows regularly ask members of the audience if they want to come out and play with the deadly snakes, and sometimes people actually do it. The snake handler must decide in an instant how much experience the person has had with venomous snakes, if any, and make a good show out of it, or just pretend that the person is doing something dangerous before asking him, usually it's a male, to sit back down. It's a rather thin line between letting the audience members interact with the snake in a dangerous way and just doing enough so they think they are. Here's the guy's description of what happened. I've edited it a bit to make it more readable. He said English was his third language, but he did a pretty good job for it being his third language. Muay Thai boxing ring snake show goes horribly wrong. I was bitten by a banded krait in 1995 in Bangkok, and it was during the night at a Soy Cowboy bar with a Muay Thai boxing ring at the snake show platform. They had 3 cobras the handler played with for a while before bringing out the large yellow and black banded krait. The snake man invited me to come up on stage. I suppose he didn't expect me to do it. He took the snake by the tail and swept it from side to side towards me. As the snake got aggravated and aggressive, it attempted to strike, but the distance kept me safe until it pulled itself up and lunged, striking sort of like a whip. It bit me on the arm while everyone in the bar screamed. It had somehow reached from his hand all the way to my arm, pumping in the venom as it seemed to have been doing. My reaction was to first see it attached to my arm, then I remembered the whip-like attack. In my mind, it was so much faster than human awareness could keep up with. Still, as I saw its eyes, it made me think, like a shark with dead eyes. I quickly realized that I could die, and I grabbed it around the throat and squeezed very hard and ripped it off my arm. The head was angled and mouth still open. I hit it on the head full force to kill it and dropped it, yet it remained alive. I picked a small tooth out of my arm, smaller than a kitten's tooth. I bled from just one small spot where the tooth was embedded, yet the snake was able to inject enough venom to fully envenomate me. The effects of such a bite were far worse than I could have imagined as I ended up in the hospital. After more than a week, when I was about to leave the hospital, the doctor told me it would take around 5 years to fully recover, and it did take that long. It's quite a story, right? It had some more interaction with him back and forth, and he's fairly okay now. He does have some nerve damage. I've never seen one of these snakes try to bite, either in person or on video. I found it odd that this snake seemed to stretch out and bite him, though it might have just been an opportune moment and not any real strike. Like other Kraits, this one doesn't coil and strike. So when the snake show guy asks you if you want to come down and play with the deadly snakes, will you do it? Okay, that's a good sample for what is involved. So that was only chapter 3. And there are, in the Kindle book, I think I said 169 pages. So quite a lot of cool things. There's King Cobra stories. There's Malayan Krait stories. There's Malayan pit viper stories. There are green pit viper stories. There are King Cobra deaths, a couple of them. Brown spotted pit viper stories. Monocled Cobra and spitting cobra stories. Coral snake stories. There's really quite a variety, and I think it's pretty good. I think you're going to love it. So if you would, please purchase it. It's very cheap, and you'll be helping to support a good cause. Thanks so much for your time.